The stock of the day is brought to you by IG, Australia's #1 CFD provider. With over 17,000 markets and extended trading hours, turn US earnings season volatility into opportunity. Get started at IG.com.
Well, the stock of the day kind of picked itself, didn't it? ResMed, of course, reporting revenue of $1.22 billion for the June quarter. That's a rise of 9%. Posted earnings of $1.98 per share for the quarter. Shares have been hit this year on concerns about those GLP or weight loss drugs. We spoke earlier with MD Mick Farrell a little earlier today, and he asked Mick about the elephant in the room, the impact of those weight loss drugs on the business.
It's more of an opportunity than a threat. I look at our study now. We're following 811,000 patients who have a GLP-1 prescription and then get a prescription for positive airway pressure therapy. And what we're seeing across that cohort of 811,000 patients is we're seeing more patients starting PAP, more patients being there at 1 year, and more patients being there at 2 years.
So let's get a view from my expert guest, Junbei Liu from Tribeca. I'll start with you, ResMed. So pretty positive share price reaction today. Have you missed your buying opportunity?
Look, I don't think so. I do think when ResMed is an interesting one because it's listed in the US as well. So usually the Australian investors have a smaller share price move, and then when the US lists overnight, it tends to behave even more bigger moves, whether it's up or down. So we think the result's pretty good. There is a point. There's one area where it's a little bit softer, where the device sale, the flow gen, is a little bit weaker. Then expectations still going well. But it's a very tough comparable period. They were comping 30% growth. So, they still managed to grow. It's not too bad. The mask is actually area of highlight. It's done incredibly well. And then the margin is very, very strong. Leading up into this result, people were actually a bit worried about whether they can hold the margin because the freight cost has gone up a lot. But they said, look, we'll give some guidance, and the margins above consensus range, close to 59%. And then the freight, they said we can manage within expectations. So, so I think that's a good result. You should see a consensus upgrade between 4% and 5%. Today's share price is sort of moving between up 1 to down 1. I do think that when the US market does open up, it will be up more significantly.
Okay, so there you go. It's a buy?
It's a buy.
What about you, Luke? What would you do in terms of ResMed today?
Sort of forward earnings trading around that 25, 26 times, which is it's quite a reasonable valuation for a stock like ResMed and its operating history. I listened to that presentation with Mick just before, actually, and I think the impacts of Ozempic can be difficult, especially for an industry like ResMed that's so directly impacted by it. But I think he is correct when he says that a lot of the preliminary studies are showing that the best improvements are coming through the use of Ozempic and CPAP machines is where patients are seeing the best results. So I don't think this is the CEO talking his book when he says the potential opportunity coming from Ozempic as well. I agree with Junbei. I've actually been quite critical of ResMed in the past. I think the effects of Ozempic might have overshadowed some of the operational issues they were having, particularly around that gross margin, which, fell from the sort of 59, 60% down to 54, 55 about a year ago when the share price really bottomed out. But this was a good result, that gross margin back up towards that 59%. No big restructuring charges or anything below the line either. It was a very clean result, very good cash. So, I think as you enter the new financial year for ResMed, I think there's a lot of optimism for people that a lot of those issues can be behind them. And if you sort of take a view that Ozempic won't be that big impact, I think there's a good opportunity here. So I'll say a buy as well. Probably be volatile. The next Eli Lilly result, the share price might come off again. So be prepared for that. But if you've got a long-term view, I think mid-20 valuation for ResMed is quite attractive.
So that's a buy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that was the stock of the day. We'll get on with your list in just a moment.
Brought to you by IG. Turn volatility into opportunity this US earnings season with extended trading hours on over 110 key US shares. Get started at IG.com.